Hello, everyone, and welcome to, I guess you could say now, the official very first live CCNA study group. So we actually tried to do this over the weekend and ran into some technical difficulties, but we got that all sorted out. So today I am just restarting our CCNA study group right from the ground one. We're going to run through some labs. I got some questions built up for you guys, and I believe tonight's going to go so much smoother. So with that said, let's get started. If you're like me and studying for your CCNA or any other IT certification, make sure and check out Pluralsight. With over 5,000 different IT courses to offer and key tools such as mobile content and practice exams, Pluralsight is one of the leading IT e-learning platforms. Use the link in the description to receive a free 10-day trial. Welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in, this is this month's CCNA study group. So we tried to actually do this, it was yesterday afternoon-ish, morning sometime, and ran into a couple difficulties. I wasn't quite prepared, I think, fully for the lab. So tonight we are going to walk through a couple things on first thing I'm going to show you is if you purchase some used equipment on eBay and you need to, it's like password protected and stuff. I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to reset the your routers and switches to the default configuration. So that way if you buy some home equipment for your lab, you know how to do that. Next, I am actually working from a book today, and I once again didn't pull it up. It is called 101 Labs for the CCNA certification. So here, let me pull it up here. Let me get this pulled up while everyone joins into the chat. So this is the book where I am actually working from personally myself. 101 Labs for the Cisco CCNA exam. Excellent book. I got the Kindle version here, which is the exact same thing. But it is, the labs in here range from super easy to super difficult. So I think it's a really great book. Tons of people recommended it to me. I've done my research, so it's a really good book to have. I have a link to it in the description. I also have another book down there in the description, which you can see it's actually right here, is the CCNA Route and Switch Portable Command Guide. To be honest with you, I bought this book from a used bookstore years ago. And this is the more current version, but there's so many useful commands in here. Now Cisco's really great where when you get into the router and switches, if you don't quite know the command or the commands available to you, you can type the question mark and get all the possible commands at that screen. But what this book does is it makes it a little bit easier to look that stuff up. And it's just a good all around read to have in your back pocket when you have some free time. So those are the two books I really recommend. I really recommend this 101 Labs for the Cisco CCNA. If you're doing any sort of labbing at home, go out and purchase this book. I highly recommend it. You know, no one pays me to say this kind of stuff, but you know, it's a great book. So with that said, gotta figure out where I'm at here. It looks like some people are already chiming in the chat here. Hey, the Co asked, hey, I know this isn't A+, but should I start studying for the 901, 902, or the 1001, 1002? I plan on taking the exams in March. If you haven't started studying at all, like whatsoever, just go after the 10 series. There's already content out there. Professor Messer is already putting out videos. IT Pro TV and CBT Nuggets, I already believe, have videos out for the new 10 series. So if you haven't started studying at all, the Co, just go after the 10 series. There's no point in going after the 9 series. If you've already dug like deep into the 9 series and you're already almost done with your 901 stuff, continue because by March you can still take the 901 series. So if you've already studying 901, finish that off, because in the end you're going to get the same exact A+. Your A+ certificate, which Actually, I don't have it here. I have it hanging in my office right now. It doesn't say what test you passed. It doesn't say you passed the 9 series, the 10 series. It's just an A+. So no matter what exam you take, you still get the same certification in the end. So it's really up to you. If you haven't started, go after the 10. If you've already started, take the 9 series. That's my advice. So, all right, going back into the world of Cisco and CCNA. Let's take a look here. So one of the first things I'm going to do is, I'm going to switch the screens here in a second. But I'm going to show you guys how to reset Cisco routers and switches if you buy a used one that's got configuration, maybe a password on it or enabled secret. I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to fix that, how to set it back to factory defaults. So one second here. Okay. Okay. So, with that said, just pulling up my notes here from I took last time I did this. All right. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our PuTTY here. So this is the program we use to command line, or to enter the switch, to communicate with the switch. So what I'm going to do here is bring up my start menu and go to settings. And so how I'm connecting into the switch today is I'm connecting via a console cable, which I've lost the camera. Should have done a pre-camera check. Okay. So, voila. You see our wonderful switches. So, the top 3, we have 3 2600 series Cisco routers. Great, inexpensive routers to build your home lab out. Below that, right here, hard to see, this one here, we have a 2950 Cisco 24-port switch. Awesome switch. You can do pretty much everything you need to do for your CCNA on this switch. Below it, though, is even a better one. Is a 3550 series 48-port Cisco switch. So the port number doesn't matter, but this is a little bit newer switch. It's capable of gigabit Ethernet. You can do a little bit more with it. So if you have the money, definitely splurge a little bit and get at least the 3550 series. Now, I'm going to say this again. I went out. You can go out and buy these switches used on eBay, Amazon, and for a decent price. Don't spend hundreds of dollars on this. This whole lab setup here cost me under $100. It was about $80. $80 for 3 routers, 2 switches. Awesome deal. So they've gone up a little bit in price because they're getting a little bit harder to find. But actually, I just recently went out the other day. And on Amazon, there's links to all 3 of these here, all 3 different kinds of routers and switches down in the description. So if you want to get started on your own home lab, check those out. Check those links out, and take a look at the routers, see if it's in your budget. And you don't need this much. If anything, get yourself 2 routers and a switch, or in all honesty, for a good home lab, that's what I recommend as a minimum. And these are even a little bit overkill. You can go with a little bit lower series, but this is what was personally recommended to me by a CBT Nuggets trainer, and this is what I ended up buying. But yeah, get yourself 2 routers and a switch. Ideal situation: 2 routers and 2 switches. That way you can build out a full network. So personally, that's what I recommend. I bought 3 routers just because I got 3 routers for $20. Once in a while, you can find those deals. So just go out there and scavenge the internet. Those deals are out there. So, anyways, going back. So what we're going to do is we're going to console. We're going into the console port. That's what this blue cable here is. We're going to console into this router. But the first thing we got to do is figure out what port that we are using a USB to serial adapter. We got to figure out what COM port we're using. So I'm going into my Windows settings, device manager, Okay, so ports COM and LPT. Click on that. This is here is my USB to serial adapter, and you can see right here it says COM port number 3. So we go into COM port number 3 here, and then we hit enter. That's going to bring this up. Now I'm going to make some quick changes here, purely for you guys, purely for the live stream, just so you guys can see the text better. So I'm just going to make the text a little bit bigger, just so you guys can see it. Apply. Okay, now let's fire this thing up. So you're going to see here on the screen soon if I did everything correctly. Did I turn on the right switch? No, I didn't. There we go. Sorry, I keep on saying switch, I mean router. Alright, we see this thing firing up. And this boot process is going to take a little while, so while it's loading, feel free to chime in the chat if you got any questions. I'm just going to check a few things out here. All right, so let's go ahead and do some pop quiz while, oops, this thing's loading up. So, first question, we're going to talk about frame relay. So, for those of you who know frame relay is it a connection-oriented or a connectionless-oriented protocol? Is it connection-oriented or connection-less? If you got the answer, feel free to drop it in the chat. Oops. Let's see. This looks like this router is booting up nice and neat here. Once this thing boots up, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set it back to factory default settings. And then we're going to go ahead and continue with our lab. Actually, I might run through and reset the other one. Things I was supposed to do before the live stream that didn't quite get done. Busy life. Alright. Want to enter system configuration dialog? No. So you can see that here, this one has actually been reset recently. Okay, so on one of these routers, what you're going to do, see there is configurations on here. So what you do is once you have your console cable connected, as soon as you turn it on, what you're going to do is issue a break command. That's going to dump you into ramen. So this is the program that loads the switch's operating system. Alrighty. So while you're in here, one of the first things you're going to do is, alright, one second. Reviewing my notes here because actually, to be honest with you, I don't have it memorized. Okay. So once we're in ramen 1, we're going to issue the command config, excuse me, and 0x2142. So if that doesn't work, you're going to also try 0x102. A lot of times the configuration will be set there. So now we just told it to load from there. Now we're going to type reset to get it to actually reset the router and load the operating system. So while that is working, what we're going to do is issue the same command on this other one. So now we're on this middle switch. We're going to issue the break command. And we're going to type the same thing. Oops. FREG 0 X 21042. There we go. Alright, now this one's restarting and it's booting up. So let's switch back to this bottom one. Let's see, it's still loading. Now, one thing when you're consoled in with a USB to serial and a console cable is you don't actually have to log out. It plugs you straight into your command line interface there. So really kind of a neat feature there. So it looks like this one's almost done loading up. If you guys are just joining, this is our first ever CCNA live study group. Right now we're walking through the steps on how you would reset a used Cisco router to factory defaults, or any, really a Cisco router like these to factory defaults. So we just issued the break command, and then in Ramen we did a config 0x2142. So, and then issued a reset command, so the router reset. And would you like to enter the initial configuration? No. We're going to answer no there. Okay. Now we're going to return to get started. Alright, now we're at router. This is the default name of this router, is router. First off, we're going to enable ENABLE, gosh, or you can just type EN to elevate to enabled. And how you can tell you're elevated, you'll see this hash sign, this pound symbol. That means you're working in an elevated command prompt. So now that we're in an elevated command prompt, we're going to type. Let's see here. Configure memory. Let's see. Reviewing my notes here, I apologize. Now we're going to type show, and I promised myself I was going to type out full commands, SHOW. Alright, so we're going to type show running configuration. So we can see that, nothing is set up here. Now the ports are enabled, no IP addresses, nothing's enabled. So we know that the router's been reset. Now what we're going to do is type the command. I'm going to type the full command. You can type config T, or the full command. Actual full command is configure terminal. Alright, so now we're in config. See right here, you can see the command prompt changed. Alright. Now, we're going to config registry. X2102. Okay. I'm going to type N to get out of our configuration prompt. Okay. Now we're going to type write memory. So this is, we're going to write the current running configuration that we have to memory. It's going to write it to its flash memory. So next time we restart this router, it will come back. Okay, we're all set. So that is all there is to it. So now we're going to switch back over really quick to this other router and do the same. Okay. No, we don't want to set it up. Return. And if you guys got any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat while we can do this really quick. And I'm not going to really talk about what I'm doing here. I'm just going to jump in and do it. You can follow along. I'm going to enable. Configure memory command. We're going to double check. Show running config. Okay. And once again, we can see there is no configuration. So what we're going to do is configuration terminal. We're going to configure registry block there. We're going to write that to memory. All right. So now we have two routers with a fresh configuration, like new out of the box from the factory. Okay. And that one did it. So with that said, let's break into the first lab. So what I'm going to be doing today is this lab is suitable for your CCNA, your ICND1, your first CCNA certification. It's got a difficulty range about 2 out of 10. Not too difficult of a lab. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to configure, verify, and troubleshoot an IPv4 address. All right. So the objective of this lab is for you to learn and understand how to create and troubleshoot IPv4 addresses on a Cisco router. So we're talking about some entry-level stuff. Excuse me. But it should be pretty good. So our first task is to configure the host names on router 1 and 3 as illustrated in the topography. So I can't really show this on screen, but I'm going to walk you through the steps on what I'm going to do here. So we need to configure router 1. We're going to call the one we're plugged into here in the middle, router 1, and this router right below it, router 3. So we're going to name this one router 1 and router 3. That's our very first thing we're going to try to do. So we're in our router here. We got router. That's the name of it. We got the pound sign here, the hash symbol, so we know we're already operating in an elevated command prompt. So we're going to type the command config T, short for configuration terminal, or configure terminal. So now we got a config command there, or you can see we're at the config command prompt, and then we're going to enter host name R1. So we're gonna set the host name here to R1. Hit enter. Boom. You can see right here the host name's already changed to R1. That's it for this first part. So we just set the host name of this router to R1. Let's jump over to the other one and configure that one to R3. So it's just simple as swapping your console cable. That's why I put this little screen down here so you guys can see what I'm doing over here as well. So see now we're plugged into the bottom switch here. We're going to call that R3. So let's configure that. So we got the hash sign there, the pound symbol. So we're already at an elevated command prompt. Config T. All right, configuration R3. So we're going to name it host name R3, and boom, we see that instantly took effect because right there, R3. All right, so we just configured both these switches with their own host names. So now we can tell which one apart we're working on, okay? So very next step, let's configure an IP address for interface 00 on router number 1. Alrighty? So, there's a lot of switching back and forth. I don't want you guys to get confused which one I'm working on here. So here, back to router 1. So this is how you would set an IP address for a specific interface. So we're going to go into we're in an elevate command prompt. We're going to go into the configuration terminal. So config T. Now we're going to configure the interface. So before that, what we actually have to do is figure out what the interface's name. So jump ahead of myself. So I just type the show run, which is show running configuration command. So we're going to configure interface 00. It is named Fast Ethernet 0. So that is the name we got to do. So config T interface. So I copied this, so I'm just going to right click on the screen. It'll paste that right there. All right, now we're in the config if. So config interface. This is the config interface, okay? Regular configuration terminal, configure interface. So now we enter the commands one line at a time. So IP add, we're going to set the IP address. For this lab, they're saying 192.16.1.1 with a subnet mask of 255.192. All right. Enter. So we just set that. So no errors popped on the screen. It just brought us to the next line, so we know that was good. Now we're going to open. So right now the port is shut down, not allowing any traffic. So we got to turn that port on. So we're going to issue the no shut command. So shut as in shut down. And so if we're going to shut down the port, we just type shut down. If we are going to open the port, turn it on, we type no shut or no shutdown. All right, that's all good. Now we can verify it. See right here, it says link 3 up down interface fast Ethernet 0-0 change static to up. So what we're going to do is do a show. Oh, we gotta get one more level out. All right. Show run. So we're showing the running configuration. All right. Here we go. So Fast Ethernet port 0-0 now has an IP address of 172.16.1.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.192. And then it is not shut down. See where this one's shut down? So it doesn't say that here. Duplex auto, speed auto. Excellent. So let's go ahead and start configuring router number 3. Let's switch on over to that. So we're going to move down to router number 3. And okay, you see that we're on now number 3. So we're going to config T, and we're going to configure the interface. I believe this one should be named the same, so try that again. All right, now we're configuring interface Fast Ethernet 0.0. Let's give it an IP address. All right, IP add 172.16.1.2 with a subnet mask of 255.192. So it's on the same subnet, just one number off. So that's took, and we're going to tell it to the port not to be shut down. We're going to open the port, so no shut. Okay. Now, also while we're in this interface here, we're going to go back down to configuration, And we're going to configure our loopback addresses for this lab. So, interface LO10. So loopback address number 10. We're going to give it an IP address of 10, 10, 10, 3. The subnet mask at 255, 255, 255, 128. Alright. So, we're going to do that for loopback address 20 and 30 as well. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Oops. 20. Can't type this evening. Alright. So, we're giving this loopback address 20. I know I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can't see it. We're giving this loopback address 20 an IP address of 10.10.20.3. So, and we're going to do loopback 30. Ten dot 30.30.3, 255, 255, 255.248. Okay, now we are done configuring the R2 routers for this lab. So the first part of this lab was to give it the host name of router 1 and router 3. Second part was to configure the routers interfaces, which we did. Now, the third part, we're going to use the correct show commands to check the summary of all configured IP addresses, the state of the interfaces, whether they're up, down, or administratively down, and the subnet masks applied to the interface. So this is some of your basic troubleshooting tools you would actually use in the real world. How you would check the status, what IP address each interface has, make sure it has the correct IP address. Also check the status of the interfaces, whether they're up, down, administratively down, and then you also check the subnet mask applied. So one thing we're going to do is we're going to connect those two interfaces together. So interface 00 with interface 00. So now these two routers are connected together, communicating and everything. So what we're going to do here is on router number 3, we're going to issue the command show IP interface or INT brief. So this here is going to give us a list of all the interfaces on this router, the IP addresses right here. Let me switch the screen here, sorry. Is it okay? Yes. Method, we set this manually. See, manual. These are our loopback addresses. The status, up. These are all up. These interfaces are still administratively down. And then the protocol down. Protocol up. So, and then, alrighty. So, let's see here. Next command we're going to do is to show the status of the interfaces. So you can see the status here, but we're going to issue the command show interface .0. So this is going to show us all the information for Fast Ethernet 0.0 or 0-0. It is up. Line protocol is down. Hardware is ADMFE. Address is, that's the internet address right there. And then See, this screen gives you a lot of information here. So let's see here. Oh, and then the subnet mask applied to the interface. So, awesome. So we have just completed actually our first lab here for our CCNA study group. For our next study group, I promised I plan on preparing kind of like I do my A plus study groups, more Q&A in it. Maybe start off with some Q&A, move forward to a lab or vice versa, and then do some more there. But I just want to do kind of a nice little live stream, give you guys some advice and tips on how to set up your equipment and walk you through what a lab might look like. Our next live stream will have a lot more kind of planned out for you guys. But again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as we're going here, and I'll answer them the best I can. So I was going to do another lab tonight, but these labs take a little bit of prep work on my side. I just didn't have enough time today to get it done. So, I apologize for that, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or concerns, even if you're watching this on the replay, make sure and drop a comment down below. I'll make sure and answer them the best I can. Otherwise, if you haven't yet, please make sure and subscribe. And hope you guys liked the content. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see something different with these live streams, please let me know. Tomorrow, I'm actually heading to Boise, Idaho to do some work at a property. And with that, I plan on doing a live stream there, help desk, some travel required series. And so that will probably be coming to you guys Wednesday night. And I got a couple of topics I want to talk to you guys with that as well. So I think that's it for tonight. Unless anyone else has some questions, really hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time, I'll take it easy.